Hello. So I thought I'd redo my live video. This is take 2. I deleted the other one because it wasn't, Facebook was being weird, and every now and then I'll get a video. What I do is there's an option when you do a live video to download it. So I download them and save them on my YouTube channel. It wouldn't let me do that for some reason. I sometimes will, like unload or uninstall Facebook and reinstall it, as is the protocol for when Facebook is doing weird stuff. And if that don't fix it, then I gotta do the video over again. So, that's what I'm doing. I do these as like a vlog kind of situation. Kind of helps me to keep my thoughts organized and like communication and stuff, for fun. So I'm also cleaning my desk because I can see a bunch of dust on it. But yeah, today is Friday. It is the 2nd day of January of 2026. Happy New Year's, everybody. I personally have been dealing with allergic reactions all this week. It is pretty much better. I just have a little bit of sinus stuff going on, which I guess that takes really takes a couple weeks to kind of like reset and stuff. 10 days or more. Like I can still see some redness in my cheeks, which isn't a crazy symptom, but I used to, like, I've never really had that before. So the face did swell up some for a couple days. Pretty, like, I definitely noticed it. My ears swelled shut. Had, like, for some reason, like, the cartridge in my nose swelled up. I don't know if you've ever had anything like that happen where you just have some random, like, I'm like, did I get bit by a spider? That kind of thing. Or if it was like a mite or something. I mean, I don't know. Mites do go hand in hand with cats, but I wasn't like wallowing on anybody's furniture or anything. So it's literally just like, on chairs and couches and stuff. A very clean house too at that, but they definitely, of course have cats that lay around and stuff. It was really bad. It really sucks because, like, I just, like, cannot be inside houses that have cats, but for very short periods of time, like under 15 minutes. So, that's a thing now. Like, that is definitely a huge thing. Like, I am definitely allergic to cats. I knew that I had a cat allergy because I had started to get one over the past, like, 10 years. Like, I was like, and I don't have any cats now. My last cat I had to rehome because of the allergies were bad. But my face wasn't swollen and stuff like that, but I did have my ears swell up one time. That definitely happened, and I didn't make that connection, but I have now. So, it just sucks. I like cats. Not allergic to dogs, but I do like dogs, that I know of. Cats tend to, like, be in every single little, I mean, I don't know, it depends on how you, like, live with your animals and stuff. Some people have outside animals. Some people have indoor animals. Some people don't let their cats in their bed. Some people, some cats don't mind that. Some cats do. Like, so, it is, depending on the, distribution and how, like, dandruffy the kitties are and stuff. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of studying on my schoolwork and stuff like that, and also my own medical situation, like doing some resource studying and some logic studying about points and stuff. But right now I'm going through like any page and all pages pretty much in groups on Facebook that are autism related, and watching them and looking at the different things that people talk about and post about, related to it. And there are tons of bots in the pages and stuff. Of course, like, there isn't anybody that has autism in any of the groups that, talks and stuff like that. So, every now and then I have, like, it's only been about 3 days, but every now and then I have seen a person or two who, like, or a post or two, like a couple posts I've seen, or people allude to autism as what it is. Like, and people flip the fuck out too. Like, when they see, like, I saw one person was like, I hope your kid gets autism. They just randomly said that, and I was like, that's funny, because, like, autism is the opposite of a behavioral disorder in presentation. Like, you are very, like, just not, quiet and, like, aware, and you don't have, like, intellectual problems or communication problems, which, isn't the same. It looks, is the same thing, but isn't the same thing. In diagnosis world, that's not the same thing. But, so that's two different maps. What it really has to do with is IQ and adaptive functioning. So, like, you're completely there and you're completely capable. So, you are completely able to answer someone asks you a question directly and stuff. But, like, if people are just, like, doing stuff, like, you don't, like, and I'm talking about children, like, a child doesn't get involved, if it doesn't concern them, and they have to be, like, a child with autism has to be, like, overly requested in a way in order to, like, to know that they're being involved in this something. Like, they have to have some kind of sign, because they don't know, because literally, they don't have, like, a social antenna. And those kind of things, like, social antennas and stuff, are pre-verbal, like, you communicate stuff with body language. And that's what, like, a lot of people don't understand, is, like, when they're like, oh, I was missed with diagnosis with autism and stuff, and it's like, autism is a really main, like, it's a widespread diagnosis. Like, it's abuse if nobody recognizes that you have a problem, like, and I'm not talking about, like, abuse to you, like, people just don't not notice. It creates a, like, and also teachers in 4K and 5K are trained, like, that is their main job, is like, you know, to work with 3 and 4 and 5 year olds, like, and to recognize, like, if somebody, you know, doesn't have a hand and nobody has talked to them about the kid not having a hand, like, that is totally, it is a very real disorder. It's freaky, you know, like, on paper, like, with, you know, to somebody who doesn't work with 3, 4, and 5 year olds, like, in the developmental stages and stuff, like, you know, you can just take in your own, you know, judgment, or tell yourself whatever you want to think. But, like, that's not what school is. Like, that's not what a teacher's job is and stuff. Also, autism is not special needs. Like, special needs is defined on, you know, having an intellectual disorder, or having a communication disorder. So, like, autism is definitely something to where it's on that level of, like, it's not a special need, it's a normal need, but, like, there are some places in life where you're not going to get your needs met. So you don't have special needs, you have I need to take care of myself needs. And there are definitely places in life that are healthy, and there are definitely places in life that are not healthy. So that's how that works. You know, not everybody knows that. Not everybody understands that in such simple terms and white and black and stuff. That's definitely a thing that, like, you know, their social functioning, as, you know, hopefully everybody's catching up and learning, because, you know, AI chats are now a thing. Without a social antenna, like, you know, there are aspects of conversation and stuff like that that can get twisted and whatnot. But then if you test a kid, like, you know, they don't meet any of the criteria for an intellectual disability or communication disability, like, all that's working. But then you put them back into a situation which is a social situation, and they don't act. It's not that they choose wrong, like with Asperger's. That is a behavioral thing. That is ADHD or below on the list of developmental disorders. They don't choose. They don't behave, like, have the act, because they know they don't know. Like, it's not something. Like, if you don't have a hand, you know, and you're 3 or 4 years old, you know you don't have a fucking hand. Like, it's not missed. It's not missed, you know, there's no misdiagnosis and stuff. You know, later on in, like, through life, you know, people might not talk about it with you and stuff. Like, I definitely didn't have that happen. But also, you know, situation like, what I'm guessing happened, because, like, ADHD is really prevalent in my family, and both of my parents were not the best. Both had severe attention issues, never got sorted out because my parents were also in the middle of a divorce. So if anybody ever wrote down on paper, you know, autism disorder or developmental disorder, like, I didn't see it. You know, nobody came to me and was like, hey, you have a developmental disorder. You know, I was just had you know, all the testing. Like, I was just there for it. Like, I was there for all the testing in 4K. I was there, you know, every time my teacher came to my house, because in 4K, like, I had something going on, like what I'm talking about, and my teacher came to my class, or came home with me, all the time. Like, she would gift me little things and stuff. Like worked with me outside of the home environment, but also to see me in the home, and that is a diagnosis for a developmental disorder. And like they don't do that if you don't have a developmental disorder. Also, it was public school, and that they also don't do that for intellectual disability or communication disorders, which is the first two on the list because those are pretty common. So the fact that I had a teacher working with me, my teacher, not another teacher, like my teacher, working with me outside of school, at no one's request, like as a protocol for the school, like 4K, this was 1990, and when this would have happened, 1989 and 1990, that is, developmental disorder. That is autism. That's not a learning disorder. Like I said, it's not an intellectual disorder. It's not like right off a medical condition. So, I just, yeah, they wouldn't have taken it that seriously without any kind of reprimandation, from my parents or family. If they didn't have to, if they didn't feel that there was a need and didn't feel like they needed to do the best job possible because it was such an interesting subject. And like I said, is public school. I went to East North Street Elementary, for this. It wasn't a Christian school. It wasn't a religious school when that kind of stuff happens in, religious schools and stuff. So that is how autism diagnosis used to work. Now what's really interesting is I'm kind of, my dad's not around anymore. He passed away in 2008, but I really wonder if they had made like a diagnosis and stuff, like, and they don't, that's the thing, it's like they really don't, like, if you don't have an intellectual disability, if you don't have a problem, and I didn't, like, it's something that people just, work through naturally and stuff, like, then, there really isn't a need for, like, to do a diagnosis, which is not, that's the thing, is not enough stuff is known about it in the medical world at the time, like, it's very rare, like, so part of me is like, I'm kind of glad that I don't have a diagnosis because I really personally don't know if I'd have wanted that shared with my dad. I love both my mom and my dad, but my dad, just the way that I know that he raised me without that knowledge, like, and the things that he would say, there's no telling how his misunderstanding of that, looking at the world around me and stuff, would have influenced his life. Or mine, so that's interesting to think about. I can say my, grandmother and my mom both did, a good job with doing whatever they needed see whatever they saw that needed to be done, with like helping out with pointing out things, or both of them all know that I have a social map difference, I guess is a good way to say it, and have always made comments or corrections and stuff like that, or giving me pointers, like they just do that. I've never asked, I never, like as a kid, asked for stuff like that. They just know that. So that was before me, and they don't do that to anybody else. They don't do that to my siblings. So, and it's definitely, like I said, not, it's more of it's not a choice thing, like with Asperger's. They, their body language and all that stuff is, they don't have autism. Like, just because, and in fact, the symptoms that the social symptoms and stuff that they have a problem with, even though they look the same, that is reminiscent of ADHD and alerting disorder, which is 4 and 5. But it is definitely not a hardware situation, and is definitely not a, like, they know. And that's the thing with autism, is either there or it's not. You don't get a little bit of autism, like, it is like missing a hand. So Asperger's is not a little bit autism, because ADHD is also a little bit autism, and so that would make that the same thing, below a level 3. And the list goes from like 1 to 6 or something. The top 3 are situations that are, like, it's not, like, it has behavioral symptoms, obviously, but, like, it's not a behavioral, disorder. It's like a widespread, like, hard to miss, disorder kind of thing. So if you are a little bit autistic, you have ADHD, or you have anything else on the list besides autism, if you have a little bit of autism. So that's it's a really, it is very similar to being like, it's a medical condition. It's not something that's like fun. Just like any medical condition, there's parts of it that are funny. If you go around saying that you have autism and you don't, then you are definitely somebody who is sitting around saying they are a black person. It is the whole racial thing over again, which is really crazy. But I definitely see, that there are people, like, there's this, woman in her 40s I read a news article about the other day. I didn't read the article, but I skimmed it. And she's, like, claiming publicly that she has autism spectrum disorder. And they did this whole thing about it, or, it was an article and stuff. And it's just really sad because, like, if she, is diagnosed as an adult and stuff, there is, like, she would have Asperger's, and that is not, that is, there isn't a diagnosis for that. But the thing is that technically is a type of learning disorder. So, because everybody learns, to some degree socially. There's an innate social abilities, like you can tell, like, with body language and stuff. But, like, like, once you realize that that's what it is, like, as a person with autism, it's like when you're a kid and you're learning and stuff, and you realize, that there's some things that, once you realize what's what with some shit, and it's talked about, then you're on the map of, like, making sure, like, you still or you do those, body languages and stuff. But there are situations in life that'll still, like, it doesn't just go away. Like, you still have the same blueprint. When I was in status epilepticus, I was just, I was obviously as ASD as I was when I was 3 years old, with, like, all those things. And that is the mask, that is actually a part of ASD, is, like, those social movements and stuff like that. That's definitely a thing. Like, you definitely are prone to movement disorders and stuff, like, I definitely have Tourette's in there, like, full Tourette's, and the basis of it is that, I've been doing that kind of stuff my entire life in order to, you know, be as present as possible in the group. You know, so also, you know, because a little part of me is like, do, you know, I create like this void, you know, and that is a little bit what it is when you're a kid and a teacher is like scanning the classroom and stuff. I mean, you're definitely like a black hole sitting there. There's definitely a huge difference in all kind of things about you. Like, it's not something that's easy to miss over. ADHD is, like, and I think that is a big part of the whole angriness and why people are like, oh, let's just call this ADHD or autism, because autism is so rare, and also because you can't, like, not miss somebody with autism. You also can't fucking say anything to me about it because it is so damn rare. It's like, you know, it's not like I've got friends in here or anything, or ever met anybody else, or heard of anybody else, or any of my teachers, or anybody ever hearing or working with any other kid in their lifetimes at all with it. So that's pretty crazy. In their entire freaking, like, career, it doesn't happen. So yeah. So the best I can do is continue to educate myself, and there's tons and tons and tons of information about it, from all kind of different animals, and there's all angles. And like I said, right now and in the past 3 days, I've started going through all the different groups and stuff like that I'm just doing on Facebook right now. You know, later on I'll probably start searching with websites and stuff right now, but like, people are trying to interact with people about the subject, so people are like actually trying to learn and figure out, even if they don't say it clearly, like in message groups and stuff like that, like on Facebook social groups or whatever. So looking for different sets of information. You know, it also would be nice to see somebody post something that's like, oh, they know, you know, like, that would be nice. So it would be nice to have people who understand, like, my medical disorder, because, you know, like, doctors understand and stuff, but like, I'm not gonna go home with one of the daughters. But yeah, it's Friday. It's the first day of the weekend, and so I hope everybody has a good weekend. I'll probably make a video tomorrow. Hope everybody has a great second day of their new 2026 year. Yeah.